We started. Yes. Okay. Good morning, beloveds. I'm using an app to get to Facebook because Facebook won't let me do it in portrait or in landscape, and portrait is just foolish. So it takes an extra second to connect. Hence the silly face. All right. It is January 26th. Our title is Thoughts of Peace. And our author is Peace Pilgrim from Steps Towards Inner Peace from 1983. All right. Thoughts of peace. We can spend all our lives going about doing good. Every time you meet a person, think of something encouraging to say. A kind word, a helpful suggestion, an expression of admiration. Every time you come into a situation, think of some good thing to bring. A thoughtful gift, a considerate attitude, a helping hand. If you love people enough, they will respond lovingly. If I offend people, I blame myself, for I know that if my conduct had been correct, they would not have been offended, even though they did not agree with me. Before the tongue can speak, it must have lost the power to wound. In our spiritual development, we are often required to pull up roots and to close many chapters of our lives until we are no longer attached to any material thing and can love all people without any attachment to them. You cannot leave a situation without spiritual injury unless you leave it lovingly. A spiritual life is the real life. All else is illusion and deception. Only those who are attached to God alone are truly free. Only those who live up in the highest light they have found in their lives find their lives in harmony. Those who act on their highest motivations become a power for good. It is not important that others be noticeably affected. Results should never be sought or desired. Know that every right thing you do, every good word you say, every positive you think has good effect. All difficulties in your life have a purpose. They are pushing you towards harmony with God's will. Wow. We could spend every, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We could spend a week talking, every day talking about each one of these points. Yeah. And we don't have a week. Well, we do, but we have maybe 10 minutes if we're lucky, right? Okay. I really, really, really like the first one though. I really like the first one. It's like, and I forget who said it. It's a quote. It's like, leave people better than you found them. Leave people better than you found them. When people cross your path, then your impulse, should you choose to interact with them, is to interact with them in a loving, kind, and compassionate way. That's, how I'm like, do something loving, kind, and compassionate for yourself. Well, the reason I want you to practice on yourself is so that you can do it when you interact with people. Ernest Holmes said, people are dying for people to tell them that they're okay. And so that at least is one thing that we can do. When we cross paths with people, we can say something nice to them. We sometimes for some people, just acknowledging their existence, never looking away from another's pain, that's sometimes that's the good we can do. I was reading one of my friends who posted on Facebook, and she lost her mother far too young, and she had the opportunity to sit with a young person who also lost their mother way too soon. And that's exactly what she said. You don't have to know what to say. You may not know what to say, but to sit with them and to listen to them can be the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing that you can do. When you meet people who've lost somebody, Sometimes what they need to do is they need to talk about that person. So you say, tell me about. And you listen. And you listen. And they get to, that person gets to live between the two of you again for a short period of time. Okay. If you love people enough, they will respond lovingly. If I offend people, I blame myself. Okay. That's one of those things when I talk about doing loving, kind, and compassionate things, including the hard stuff. If I have to deliver hard news, and I've had to fire people before, so I understand, if you can do it in a loving, kind, and compassionate way, then everybody's better of the situation. So, and yeah, occasionally you're going to meet people and you're going to be as loving, kind, and compassionate as you can be. And they're still going to respond. And so it's like, then that's when you get to look at the situation and go, is there anything I could have done differently? If there is, then the next time you'll do better. And if there isn't, then you just have to understand what you do then is you treat for that person to remember who they are, to remember that they are a beloved child of God. Yeah, I'm not going to take the blame for people getting offended with me if I have done my job of being loving, kind, and compassionate. So I do take a little bit of, I'm going to give myself a little leeway. I'm going to give you a little leeway too. It's like, check the situation. If you did everything you could, then you treat for them to remember who they are, to remember that they are a beloved expression of the divine. Okay. This one was a little weird. In our spiritual development, we were often required to pull up roots and to close many chapters of our lives until we are no longer attached. Ooh, okay. So the Buddhists say that suffering is the root, that the root of all suffering is attachment. It is human nature. It is human nature to be attached. Therefore, it is human nature that we will suffer. But it is important that we don't get attached to outcomes. As practitioners, we actually don't ask the outcomes. We love it when people come to us and say, hey, that treatment you did for me, here's how it worked out. We love to hear, but we don't ask. We are trained not to ask. And it's partly about not getting attached. And partly about the perception of, well, if you're asking, you don't believe it worked. So, if you ever wonder why practitioners don't ask when they do treatments for you, that's why. That's why. Because we don't want to shake your confidence. We want you to have the utmost confidence that our treatments are effective. So, you cannot leave a situation without spiritual injury unless you leave it lovingly. Well, that pretty much says it. So I don't have to jump all over that one. And then, okay, the spiritual life is real life. The spiritual life is real life. All else is illusion and deception. So Peace Pilgrim, who I'm not familiar with, might be Christian Science. That is a very Christian Science. Rita, you are going to knock my camera over, baby girl. No. Or I think A Course in Miracles believes the same thing. So I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not willing to entertain that. But the second line, only those who are attached to God alone are truly free. So only those who live in the highest light they have find their lives in harmony. Those who act on their highest motivations become a power for good. It is not important that others be noticeably, basically don't get caught up in the results. Do your good. Live your life. Do the best that you can. And don't worry about the results. When you do good for other people, you want the best outcome. But don't get caught up in making sure that it is the best. Do your best. Don't worry about doing your best. I think that's the message that I'm trying to say. Do your best. but don't worry about doing your best. Okay? Don't get caught up in that, because then that will bind you. That's not freedom. That's not harmony. If you're constantly worried about how you are affecting other people, it's going to grate on you. It's going to wear on you. So yeah, it's that very Yoda thing. It's that very Yoda thing. Do or do not. There is no try. Okay? There is no try. So don't try to do your best. Do your best. And then don't worry about the outcome. If you have done the best that you can, then the outcome should be good. Okay? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I think that's the message there. I'm not going to worry about the illusion and deception and material world. The material world is what it is. What we have to remember about the material world is it's not permanent. There's the unseen world. Things come into form. And just as fast as they get into form, they're breaking back out of form and going back into the unseen. So don't get bound up in the material. All right. It's not an illusion. It's not a deception. It's just not permanent. It is in constant change. It is in constant flux. And that's what we have to remember. Okay. All right. She has one last one, and then we're going to pop on this. All right. All difficulties in your life have a purpose. They are pushing you towards harmony with God's will. Okay. You never, ever, ever say that to somebody in a difficulty. Never. Okay. For two reasons. One, it's called a spiritual bypass. And two, it doesn't make people feel good. All right. Now, when the difficulty is long past and the person is trying to figure out what happened, then you can have the discussion with them where you can look for the good that came out of the difficulty. But you never say the difficulty has a purpose. You never say it was God's plan. All right. That's just rude. But when people are open to looking at their past difficulties and how they have grown and changed, because that's what difficulties do. They force us to grow and change. Now, some people don't grow and some people don't change in their difficulties. And that is what it is. So that's the other reason why we don't ever want to say that to somebody. It's like, well, maybe they didn't grow. But if then they're probably still in that difficulty. So yes, our difficulties can absolutely help us grow. They can help us change. They can bring us closer to God. But for God's sake, for Pete's sake, for everything that is loving, kind, and compassionate, don't ever go to somebody in a difficult situation and say, well, this is going to make you closer to God. They get to make that determination, not us. Okay. We're on the outside looking in. We don't get to say that. And I want to make that clear, just because when we do this kind of work, we do encounter people who are in difficult situations. And the last thing we want to do is, well, one, the God of my understanding doesn't put us in difficult situations to make us grow and change. God doesn't do that. The divine nature does not do that. We do that to ourselves. That's that free will thing. You know, we frequently put ourselves in difficult situations, and it's not even just us. We have structures in place, you know, that keep people in difficult situations. You know, just by virtue of being a woman, I understand that. As a woman, we can be pressured to get married. And then once we get married, if we marry somebody who isn't, you know, on the level, it's really hard to, especially once you have children, to get out. Okay. So I would never tell a woman in that situation, well, God put you in that situation to no. Okay. So when you meet people who are in situations like that, all you can do is love them, be compassionate with them, be kind with them. You don't ever say God put you in this situation. Never, because God didn't. That was human nature that did that. You also, and when they are ready to look for the good in the situation, then maybe, nobody ever gets to do that for another person unless that person comes to them and say, hey, you know what? I just got out of this situation. Help me figure out what was good in it, Other than that, all we get to do is listen and do this. So I read those and I'm just like, I don't agree with that. And that's okay. That's okay. Ernest would, if you disagreed with Ernest, he would have a conversation with you. And as Peace said earlier in the thing, you would leave the situation not offended. Okay? Ernest would have an open and loving conversation with you. This is what I believe about Ernest. Do I know? No, I don't know. But I believe from the way he writes, that he would have the conversation with you. And maybe you never came to an agreement, but you would both leave the situation feeling okay about your interaction. Neither one of you would leave offended. Neither one of you would leave injured, spiritually injured, as Peace was talking about earlier in one of the other ones, And I think that's something that we've forgotten, is how to have a conversation about things we don't agree on. And yeah. Oh, well. Okay. So that's Peace Pilgrim. Interesting lady. I suggest you look her up if you're curious. And her book was Steps to Inner Peace. So, and it said no copyright in effect. It may be available on the internet for free if you're interested. So I would check her out. You don't have to agree 100% with what she says, but there may be some interesting things in it. And she's definitely on board with me about that loving, kind, and compassionate. I'm human. I absolutely believe in being as loving, kind, and compassionate to other people as I can. And when I come up against people that I struggle to be loving, kind, and compassionate with, then what I do is I remove myself from the situation. And then I treat to see what in me is preventing me from doing that. So, and I will be honest with you, if you find yourself in a situation where you are struggling to be loving, kind, and compassionate to somebody, look at your own wounds. Look at your own wounds. You may have a wound that you thought was scarred up that isn't. Because I was recently in that situation where it was like really quickly, I kind of went, oh, okay. I can't deal with this person. Now it had nothing to do with my community. It was a work situation. And I'm just kind of like, and so I'm like, okay, well, what in me is still wounded that is causing me to respond like this? And so what I did was I kept my interactions with this person, on the surface and as minimal as I could, because I'm like, and that's something else that you can look for. If you are having trouble responding lovingly, kindly, and compassionately to somebody, you probably have an unhealed wound that you weren't aware of. So, or you could just be angry at the structure that puts people in the situations that they are in, because there we are. There's my unhealed wound. Definitely angry at the situations, the structures that people put people in the situations that they find themselves in. These are not situations that they have voluntarily put themselves in, but the situations and formal structures. I say gender, culture, society. They can push a lot of people into difficult situations. So, and I'm definitely angry about that. Okay. All right. The mission today, should we choose to accept it? Oof. Well, the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is, what was that thing that she said? We can spend all our lives going about doing good. Every time you meet a person, think of something encouraging to say. A kind word, a helpful suggestion, an expression of admiration. You can do it in your head for every person you meet. But for every opportunity that you are given to say something good to another person, take it. It may be the only good thing they hear all day. That's the mission today, should you choose to accept it. That's what peace is talking about. All right? If you're given the opportunity to say something good, and I notice I said good. I didn't say nice. I said good. Something good, something kind, something compassionate, something loving. Say it. Say it out loud. Say it to the person. That's the mission today, should we choose to accept it, including yourself. All right, because the second mission that I give you every day, which is the mission of self-care, it is the spiritual practice of self-care, is to do something loving, do something kind, do something compassionate for yourself. And sometimes saying loving, kind, and compassionate things, saying good things to yourself, is exactly that. I want you to practice on yourself. Mostly because you deserve your own love, you deserve your own kindness, you deserve your own compassion. Okay? That's why. But you are also your own best test subject. And the end goal is that everything you do is loving, kind, and compassionate. Everything. And you can get there. And then when you have an occasional slip up, you can look at the slip up and you can say, well, what happened there? And fix it for the next time. You, at the core of your being, I believe you are good. That is a core belief of mine, that at the core of everyone's being, we are good, because the core of our being is the divine spark. And the divine spark is good. Now, am I going to wait around to see the divine spark of good in everybody? Heck no. It's like, if you're behaving badly, I'm going to go over here where it's safe, and I'm going to know for you to remember who you are. I'm not going to put myself in your sphere of influence, okay? But I do believe that everybody at the core of them is good. They've just forgotten who they are. They got too many layers that they need to peel off. So treat yourself kindly. Let everything you do be loving, kind, and compassionate for yourself and others. How do we make a world that works for everybody? Well, that's a place to start, okay? And like I said, my first suggestion is always to take a deep breath before you speak, so that you can respond rather than react. Okay? And you can respond lovingly, kindly, and compassionately to any situation that you come across. My other jumping off point, which kind of covers the gamut there, take a walk, take a nap, take a break. The human equivalent of turning ourselves off and on again is the nap. That, just in the Western society, we just don't get enough rest. And when we don't get enough rest and we're tired, we're cranky. So get a little more rest. Taking a walk is exactly what it sounds like. It is literally about going and getting the blood moving, getting the oxygen. But sometimes it means walking away from a situation. Even if we think we can fix it. Sometimes it's not ours to fix. Okay? Frequently, it's not ours to fix. Taking a break is what it sounds like. Sometimes when we get stuck, what we need to do is go do something else for a little while. Go do something else and let that rest, and then the solution will naturally arise. There are plenty of other suggestions about loving, kind, and compassion, including saying no to something that is draining you. Okay? Saying no. And remembering that no is a complete sentence. But I want to remind you, sometimes the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing you can do is say yes to something that may push you a little out of your comfort zone. So there's that. Say yes, say no. All right. And I'm sure you have plenty others. Couple other things that I always like to remind you. Eat dessert first. One, chocolate is the first step to fixing anything. But it also means don't save the good stuff. Our life is a special occasion, and it would be nice if we could treat it as such. So don't wait for a special occasion. Make the occasion special. All right. Yes. No. Maybe. Joy. Joy is a quality of God. Therefore, joy is a quality of you. No matter what is going on in the world, no matter what is going on in your life, you deserve joy. Please make room for joy. Please make room for joy. Whatever it takes to make room for joy. I got a video of my great big orange purring yesterday that makes me very happy. And so now if I need a moment of joy, I can pull the video up on my phone and listen to her purr. And it's incredible because she's not facing she's looking away from the camera. So you hear the purr, and then when she turns to face the camera, the volume just goes up. It's like incredible. That's my joy. You can see it. That's my joy. I've got lots of other joys, but that's one. And another suggestion, if you need joy, Google baby laugh. There is no sound purer than a baby laugh. Okay? The only thing that even comes close in my book is a purr from a cat. They're kind of right there. Those are the two best things in the world. You need a moment of joy. There you go. All right. There are plenty of others to choose from. Those are just a couple. If you're stuck in a moment, you need a moment of joy, Google baby laugh. Okay. It's contagious, literally. All right. The rest of the suggestions are basic self-care. Do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you. Unless today's your day of rest, you definitely need to have at least one of those in there. Drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. Oh, I meant to bring my water with me and forgot. Oh, well. Your brain works better. Your skin looks better. Your body works better if you are well hydrated. Drink plenty of water. I know we just got rained on for 3 days. We had one sunny day, and then apparently it might rain again today. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend, though, so, All right. The earth definitely needed a drink where I live. Sorry. Lost my train of thought. Where was I going? What light? Bright light. Yeah, because there's no sun again today. So I'm leaning into the artificial light. 5 to 10 minutes of bright light first thing in your day. Okay? As soon as you get up, go get you bright light, 5 to 10 minutes. It'll help reset your hormones. You'll have more energy during the day. You'll sleep better at night. If you need more support than the light in your house is giving you, then Google seasonal affect disorder light or sun lamp. Okay. They use them in Alaska. They are a real thing, Okay. Ernest Holmes quote, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. What does that mean? 2 things. 1, it's all God. And 2, heaven is a state of mind. It is not a locality, as Ernest says. It is not a locality. It is not a place. Okay. It is not a place we have to get to, but it's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. And one of the fastest ways to figure that out, look for the good and praise it. That is Emma Curtis Hopkins. Okay. All right. Social media, Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. I commend them to you. If you want to know what's going on with the center, email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on the constant contact. I just noticed the time and I do have to go to work today. So I'm going to have to speed this wrap up. All right. So the hot links in the email are hot. So click on them. See where they take you. All right. Now I'm at the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a peaceful day, a Friday, a get your week wrapped up day, a stay dry day, a dance in the rain day, an enjoy your life day, a recognize the core of good day, a say something nice to somebody day, a good day, and if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. What was it our author said a couple of days ago? You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are, or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are godly. All right. Know the truth of your being. Explore the truth of your being regularly. Peel back the layers of everything you've been told and get to know who God knows you to be. Because I can promise you, that person is good. All right. Okay. I'm going to remind you, Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time. Which means after the park tomorrow.